Alright, so today we're going to be making a hand, particularly a left hand, for our game because I figured, it'd be better if it had one rather than floating guns and things like that. Um, Sometimes they're hard to make, but I figured it'd be worth it. So first I'm going to do is just loop cut it a few times down the middle. You get a general idea for a knuckle. Cause a little bit of contour just so you get your thumbs and all the things like that. It'll look really rough, kind of like a little bit like a fin, but thankfully Blender seems to do most of the work for you. Honestly, it you just get the general shape down, and Blender will get everything else you need. So just making knuckles here. Knuckles for I don't think I'm gonna be animating anything too specific with the knuckles, but I might down the line. So figure you might as well. The only thing I'd really think about is maybe the thumbs, but other than that, I don't know if I'll really go in depth with knuckles. But for now, just kind of give it a little bend, so it's a little more distinctual for Blender. I'm not going to be doing anything like fingernails or anything like that. I'll keep it relatively low poly. It's not too low poly, but it's low poly enough. Um, so then you can just kind of make the rest of the fingers. Again, it looks really blocky and choppy. It's gonna look like that. It's not much you can really do about it. Attempt to fix it a little bit, but I mean, for the most part, it's gonna look a little chunky. You can refine everything a little bit later, though. So for now, it'll work. So again, this isn't anything. I'm no expert in Blender. I honestly just look up a few tutorials and try to do it myself. There really isn't much I'm really expecting out of this. It's just better than using a cube or anything like that. So I'd rather use something that I made. Just no matter how bad it looks. For now, I'm just going to be modeling, like I said again, though, just editing little things. Um, for bones, it'll probably be another video, put it in with the animation. Um, just the finer details, honestly, are just for now. Generally, I think people usually do the details after they rig it, but I'd rather get it all flushed out now and then animate it on later. And right now I'm just making knuckles for all the other hands. They're, you know, all over the place, so I had to fix those. Um, and the middle finger happens to be up in the air a little more than normal. So I had to, or not up in the air, off to the side. So I end up fixing that. In fact, all the hands are a little messed up. So the wire mesh can actually be kind of helpful at times. So it helps you see through the hand itself, and it's a double-edged sword. It could either help or hurt you. Um, but for the most part, it's a lot easier than circling all over the place and clicking on things. Um, so I'd recommend using it if you do have to use it. It just makes life easier. So his thumb, I wasn't happy with the way really any of the fingers looked. So I wanted to refine each and every one of them. The thumb in particular looked really awkward to me, um, and all the changes that I ended up making to it really are kind of all in vain because it ends up being just fine the way I had it the first time. Well, relatively. I end up fixing a few things, just changing it back, and that's something that's going to happen probably a lot. You'll make something, change it, and then end up changing it back just because it ends up looking better, more the way you want to. Maybe you want to stylize it back to the way it was previously. And so now it's taking more of a shape of a hand. The thumb's still a little bit skinny, and the pinky finger looks a little awkward. And I'll go and I'll fix all that stuff. And here's what I'm not using the wire mesh. It makes it a lot harder, just because I have to go around and select everything, make sure I selected everything. Or if you have the wire mesh, it's just simple, drag, click, done. And so I'm just fixing the pinky finger. making it shorter, all that stuff. And now I'd say it looks pretty good. That's probably gonna be the base model that I'll use for the game. Um, and so I'm just gonna save it, and I'll implement it into the game and rig it and all that other stuff in a later video. For now, I just want to get the model done. Um, but yeah, I think this looks good, and I think it's probably what we're gonna be using for the game.